Okay, in this video, we are going to display the About Me information for an author. So to get started, let's first go into our user service and we'll add another method in here. And this method will be for retrieving an application user given their ID. Okay, and let's just add this to our interface. We'll need a view model, and we are going to let this live inside of the home controller. So inside of the home view models, I'm going to add a new class called author view model. And this view model is going to hold some of the information that we'll need. So let's go with the application user. We're also going to want to display all the posts by the author. We'll make that pageable. We want this to be searchable, so we'll add in the properties. Now we need to create a business manager for our home. And before we forget, let's add that into our configuration. For this home business manager, we're going to need to inject our post and user service. And we're going to go ahead and create a method for retrieving our author view model. So the reason why we're returning an action result is because we want to do some validation. So the first thing we'll validate is that author ID isn't null. Now that we know it's not null, let's go ahead and call our user service to actually get the application user. Okay, so now with that, we also need to check if the application user is null, because they could have passed in something that is bogus. We'll want to set some things up. We're going to set up our page size first to default to 20, then our page number to 1. We'll create a variable. We'll call our post service, and we have a method get posts, which I think I'm going to go with the search string for now. Pass in this search string, and we need to check if it's null. If so, we'll pass in empty string. And then just down here is where we will do the check on the user and whether or not the post was published. Okay, so now we should have all the posts from that particular user that contains a search string and were published. Now we can just return our author view model, and we'll set the variables that we have. And we need to make that a static page list. In fact, it's going to be exactly the same. Exactly the same as this. We also have our search string and the page number. Let's add this to the interface. So now we can update our home controller and add in the action for the author. So we'll have to inject our home business manager now. And we'll just create a new action down here. I'm calling it author. We're taking in a author ID, the search string, and the page. And then we'll just call our home business manager the get author view model. So we're going to make a couple updates to our view models for the admin page. So we're going to look at our about view model. We're going to add in a property for application user. Okay, and then inside of our admin business manager, we will go ahead and update the get about view model to include that application user. So in here, views, and then shared, right in here, we're going to create a new view, and we're going to call this underscore home layout. Okay, so this new partial view is going to be pretty similar to this read layout because we're going to end up sharing this across a couple controllers. So I'm just going to get rid of this read layout and then pull from this home layout. Okay, so I've already built this. Some main differences between this and the read layout is down here inside the header. I've added in a subheader, but I am checking on the subheader, and based on that, we either throw in this home author or this subheader. Okay, so now we can create a new view inside of our home folder, and we'll call it author. Okay, and I've already built this one as well. Please feel free to pause the video and copy as needed. Now, since we're using this home layout, we can delete the read layout. So, where was that? Inside of post. We can go ahead and delete this. And then inside of the post index, we can change that to home layout. Oh, and we'll need to look at this. We have this author ID, so we're gonna have to add in another view data for author ID. I'm gonna set that to the where is it? Post creator ID. Let's hop on over to our views, admin, about. We're going to add in a button down here so that when we're customizing our About Me page, we can navigate to see what it would actually look like. So just below this button, I'm going to create a link for the home action of author, and then we want to set the route author ID equal to our what is it? Application user .id, and I want to make the class to be that of a button and secondary, and also I'm going to make it float right, and I'll have view. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, so let's see. Here's one of the blog posts for testing. So if I click on it, here we go. We are here. We've arrived to the background image. It shows my name and then what I set up for the subtitle. This is my testing stuff. And then I also have all the blogs written by me, which is currently just one. One last thing I would like to do, given that we're currently setting our page limit to 20 and we only have 2 of these blogs on here. I want to make it so that this does not display, unless we have more than 20 blogs to look at. So to do that, we're going to work with tag helpers. So let's go ahead and jump into that. I'll close all this and start fresh here. Now we're going to create a new folder inside here. We're going to call it tag helpers. And then inside of this folder, we're going to add a new class and call it hide pager helper. We need to inherit from tag helpers. We need to inherit from tag helper. So what we want to check is we're going to check the count of, say, 20 versus the count of the list of posts. So we're going to add two properties to this. And then, so tag helper has a few virtual methods in here. The one that we're interested in is this process one, so we're going to override that. We'll say if list.count, and in our case we want to check if it's less than or equal to the count that we pass in. And if so, then we're just going to say output suppress output. And that just says, hey, don't render it, don't show it. Above this class, we're going to throw in an attribute called HTML target element, and then we're going to say attributes equals, and this has to be a constant string, and we're just going to say list and count. Last thing we need to do is go into our view imports, and like we had to do for this, we're going to do for ours. So throw in add tag helper star comma, and really all we need to do is pull in the root namespace. Now we can work on actually hiding the pager. So let's take a look. It's inside of our home index. So right here we want to hide this guy. So I'm just going to wrap it inside of a div, and I'm going to say list. So list equals model dot post, and we have count equals, we're going to say 20. And then likewise for the author, do the same down here. Now if we run it, we should no longer see that if it is less than 20. So yeah, it's gone. We don't see it because it's dead weight.